What's up YouTube, Dale here from Zephyr War Games, and today I'm going to bring you an update to Dark Magicians, but without VERTE Anaconda. So this is with the expectation that the ban is to drop at some point today, tomorrow, or before Monday, as it is the 17th, and we are going to go with the expectation of the most realistic hit that VERTE is not around. Off the back of that, it is officially our 6th year anniversary, so I thought I would do my most favourite deck for this particular video and also give back to you guys. So keep watching the video because at the end I'll show you how I will be giving away a couple of packs of these, and you'll see that these are the perfect fit Dragon Shield sleeves to double sleeve your main deck, extra deck, whatever you want. With all of that out of the way, let's dive headfirst into this profile and show you exactly what we've got. So it is Dark Magician, it is the Mac Daddy. There are loads of different versions out there right now, but like I said, I've tried to kind of keep this future-proof. I wanted to wait until after the ban list, but I kind of thought that today was a good special day to do this. So, as most people are playing right now, you're going to be playing 2 Dark Magician plus the Red Eyes Black Dragon. You'll see with the outer sleeves as well, around these, that these are the Dragon Shield perfect fits that I will explain to you guys how to get your own pack at the end as well. So 2 Dark Magician and 1 Red Eyes, this is pretty much the standard ratio of every build right now. You do not rely heavily on having 3 Dark Magician. You do get them from deck to graveyard very quickly, very easily, and they are, in theory, or Red Eyes is more so, a bit more of a brick. Then we've got the main normal summon of the deck being Triple Magician's Rod. Now again, post Illusion of Chaos, a card that Loza, so go check out his channel on YouTube, a card that he brought to my attention was Diviner of the Herald. And I actually really like that idea, because the idea was that you normal summon Diviner of the Herald, it gives you Illusion of Chaos. Illusion of Chaos gives you Magician's Souls, which can then ultimately lead you to a level 6. Because your Diviner of the Herald will become a level 6 tuner, you then open up the door for rank 6 plays, as well as going into plays for Ultimate Zolkins or Ultimate Final Sigma as well. So you're just basically being able to give yourself an incredible boss monster or a negate within your 5 summons and pretty much going off the back from there. But for now, Magician's Rod is still the most important normal summon. And again, there is a combo in the deck that I'll show you at the end, which basically means if you open up the Striker engine plus your normal summon being Rod, or a way to get to Soul Servant, you end up actually being able to get into any link 4 you want and being able to play off the back of that. Then, of course, we do have Triple Magician Souls. This has now had 2 prints. Hopefully, it's going to get a 3rd print in June as well for all of you guys in the Legendary Season 3. And that will just make it even more easy to get. But I only picked these up for like £30 a copy now as secret rares. So you should be able to get these nice and easily. Incredibly important, and it gets even more important when we get Illusion of Chaos in February. Then for the one, we've got the 1 Dark Magician Girl. This is actually has a lot more utility right now. Again, with the Diviner combo that I explained to you as well, you can summon out Dark Magician Girl. That is your level 6. Off the back of that as well, giving you the 2 draws can now sometimes be important. It still sucks if you open this card, like it always will do, until we get some proper Dark Magician Girl support. But it is near enough a necessity in particular builds right now. Then we played Dogmatica package. We've got the 1 Philidius, the 1 Maximus, and the 1 Ecclesia. Now, this package should be relatively easy and cheaper for you guys to pick up. I think is a package that is going to be used in future versions of this deck as well. And just what makes it so good is it means that you don't need to rely on Red Eyes Fusion. It means you don't need to rely on VERTE Anaconda as well. Like, this was one big kind of clash within the deck, of if you were playing Dogmaticas, was that you couldn't get VERTE's effect off and Ecclesia. You would have had to have normal summon the Ecclesia to then get your defensive setup. Whereas with this particular play, like I do with a lot of my decks that now involve the Dogmaticas, I'm playing an extra card in the extra deck, not going over the 15 count of course, but the additional card basically allows me to search out any fusion card. So it gives me Magical Eyes Fusion, that also gives me Red Eyes Fusion, so it does give me the options to play around the pair of them. We've then got Triple Nadir Servant. Now, in other decks, if you don't have Magician's Souls, once you've used this once, 9 times out of 10 is pretty much then dead copies. But that's where Magician's Soul comes into play, because it's additional draw fodder for your deck. Then the best spell card that we currently own is Triple Soul Servant. I hope that this gets a secret rare upgrade in Legendary Season 3. Such a good card right now. The draw effect, the placing on top of the deck, so good. It can also revive some of your additional cards from your graveyard back to the top of the deck, which is an effect a lot of people forget about, that it does actually let you stack from the grave as well. Very important, becomes even more important with Illusion of Chaos, so keep your eyes peeled for that. We've then got 2 Dark Magical Circle. So again, when you see this particular type of build and you see most builds that are built on a competitive kind of structure, you're not always going to resolve Dark Magical Circle. Like, it's more so a risk unless you guarantee your top with Soul Servant or Illusion of Chaos that you're going to resolve your Dark Magical Circle. It is still an incredibly powerful interruption during your opponent's turn, but you need to combo that off with stuff like your Eternal Soul. It's still incredibly good, and it is, to me now, it's like the second card I go for. The first card that I go for off of Magician's Rod, if I ever normal summon it, is the Magician's Salvation, because then that net decks me the Eternal Soul, and then off the back of that, it then ultimately leads me to, if I wanted to, a draw 2 off of Magician's Souls, depending on what I've stacked my deck with or not. One card that a lot of people disagree with, and again, it's completely fine, it's just down to personal preference right now, is Dark Magic Inheritance. Like, you burn through so much already. Like, if you do resolve your Salvation and put it in the graveyard with Souls, if you activate the Dear Servant, if you activate any of your Sky Striker cards, yes, once you've used Engage and got the additional draw off of that, you can ultimately go into Dark Magic Inheritance, and off of the back of that, give you a Circle, a Salvation, or a Eternal Soul. So it does have some usability. I still need to test it as to whether I want it in my future builds or not. If I do take it out, then it will pretty much come down to the hand trap engine that would be increased. I've then got 1 Red Eyes Fusion and 1 Magical Eyes Fusion. Now again, before all of you like jump at me, I am not a fan of triple Red Eyes Fusion. Now in this particular build anyway, in a triple Red Eyes Fusion build, you want to build the deck to be more control based. Now what I mean by that is you're going to be looking at playing stuff like Ice Dragon Prisons, possibly Skill Drains, more so like Torrential Tributes, just more back row control, strikes and everything like that. I've not built this deck to do that. The way that I've built this particular type of deck without VERTE Anaconda is to be able to go, okay, cool, normal Dark Magician plays, and then try to get to the Dogmatica engine. Off the back of the Dogmatica engine for my follow-up turn, which will lead to an OTK, I've then got the option of Magical Eyes Fusion or Red Eyes Fusion. Now, obviously, with VERTE Anaconda, if it does not become banned, you still put it in the deck. I would still then maintain the use of 1 Red Eyes Fusion and 1 Magical Eyes Fusion in this particular build for the pure fact that it is just not really feasible to go, okay, activate Red Eyes Fusion, possibly set some sort of card. Like, there's just no follow-up play from this. Even in Red Eyes, I don't like playing Red Eyes Fusion at 3. Now, obviously, they have more options depending on what you want to go for. But with this, to be honest, I don't want to go Dragoon, set 2, hold a card in my hand, and kind of pass. Like, if I build it to be more control, that's where I would probably play around with having stuff like Extravagance or just more additional draw cards that's going to be able to get me a little bit further than what I've currently got here. And it clashes a lot, so that's why I've gone with a 1 and a 1. And obviously, Magical Eyes Fusion does open up the door for other spell costs in the extra deck, which I'll show you a little bit later on. We've then got the 1 Call by the Grave. You want to stop all the hand traps where at all possible. And then for the strikers, we've got the 1 Engage and the 1 Drones. Now, if we do keep VERTE Anaconda, I would highly advise putting Eagle Booster back in. I really like the fact that you can do so much and bait out so many hand traps. If your opponent even knows you're going to VERTE, the best thing about this is when you've got Eagle Booster, no matter what they try and drop, you just go Eagle Booster and it's completely protected. Opening up either one of these pretty much gives you a near enough full combo. In this particular version, it was a 1-card VERTE. In this version, you are in theory going to be turning it into a 2-card Link 4 of your choosing, whether that be an Appaloosa, whether that be a Mech Knight Crusader Avramax, or an access code for aggression is entirely up to you. Then for the track cards, we've got 2 Eternal Soul and the 1 Schism. Yes, the idea behind this is to be able to go Dogmaticas from the 1 particular card, set up the Schism play. The Schism play is then going to lock your opponent out for a turn, and then you're going to follow up with your 1 special summon being either Magical Eyes Fusion or Red Eyes Fusion and lead into an OTK play. So that's it for the main deck of core cards for this particular build. The remaining 9 cards in the deck all come down to your personal preference and your local environment. For me, the most generic lineup is going to be 2 Veiler, 2 Ash, 2 Droplet just for board breakers, and then triple Imperm. Now, these cards are all variable. You can change them to whatever you want. If your locals loses more to Ghost Ogre, you can put them in. If they lose more to Bells, DD Crows, Lanciers, anything like that, you can change and adapt. You can easily make these Chalices. You can easily make them Cosmic Cyclones. It's entirely up to you. This is the 9-card hand trap engine, which can become 10 if you take out Illusion of Magic. And that basically then gives you a bit more flex. It's also a 10-card engine should you go, you know what, I actually want to turn this into a control version of the deck. So that's where you go, right, 2 more Red Eyes Fusions, and then you're going to go, well, I'm going to put in Magician's Combination, I'm going to put in Strikes, and I want to put in Ice Dragon Prisons. Like, you can interchange all of these cards as and when you see fit to whichever kind of cards you want. Apologies for the differences, they are bouncing around other decks at this moment in time, but you can kind of see the space that you've got there and what flexibilities you have. Moving on to the extra deck, we're going to start with let's start with the links first, and we'll end on the Dark Magician fusions, because that is always going to bring up a bit of controversy amongst the viewership. So we've got the one Kagari, straightforward on this one, and the one Kana. Now, the idea or the reason behind Kana, for those of you who don't know, is it has the arrow pointing down. It can also win you games in time, because during the main phase, anytime you activate a spell, you gain 100 life points. So there are times where people will be like, yeah, cool, pass, whatever, or I'm going to make you go first because I don't think you've got any time to win. If you do have the ability to get into the striker range, and you go Kana, and you win the game from there. It's one reason that I never let strikers go first during a tight time game, because they'll just go Kana and then slow it off from back of there. The idea behind Kagari is very straightforward. So engage into drones or just hard opening drones, goes into Kagari, Kagari adds that back, activate the drones, summons itself down, turn Kagari into Kana, you've then got a zone pointing downwards, and then you can turn the drones into anything you want. Now, ideally what you'd be going for is you would like to go for something like a Link Spider or make a different play off of that, but because we're not locked to effect monsters to get to VERTE, we're not going to be playing the Link Spider. For the other Link monsters, we do have the one World Chalice card, Umduct. I actually really like this card. I've said it from day one. It's such a good alternative. The fact that it's a dragon just makes it a little bit better, and it only requires one normal monster except a token. So the idea is that you're going to be turning your Dark Magician into an Umduct, and then straight away, if you've opened up Red Eyes Fusion or you've opened up Magical Eyes Fusion, you get an instant access into Souls plus Magical Eyes Fusion, gives you a Dragoon. So lets you play around that a little bit more. The final link one is Artemis, so the idea is that you turn any of your spellcasters of level 4 or lower into Artemis, which is actually really important to come off the back of Selene. So if you don't open up a Dark Magician, it's absolutely fine, or even if you do get a Dark Magician to the grave and Selene revives that, you turn it into Umduct. If you don't, you bring back any spellcaster that's level 4 or lower and then go into your Artemis, and then straight away that gives you access to go into what I have decided to go for, are Mekk-Knight Crusadia Avramax. Now again, I know a lot of you might be like, well, where's access code, where's Appaloosa? The extra is a little bit tight, and the way I've kind of seen it is my Dogmatica plays are my defensive plays. Like, that's going to lead me all the way to pretty much game off the back of that. So I didn't want to make this a full-out aggression play which went straight to access code, and I didn't want to make it a full defensive play and go to Appaloosa, because it's like, well, if I can resolve this combo going second, I'm going to be going access code. If I'm trying to resolve this combo going first, I need to go Appaloosa, like two separate cards. Whereas with something like Crusader Avramax, it serves both a defensive purpose and an offensive purpose. So it allowed me to pretty much get the best of both without having to kind of stretch the extra deck even more thin. Entirely up to you. It does come down to player preference, but the whole idea of this is you're going to be using Selene to get you into a Link 4 of a type, whether that be Appaloosa, whether that be access code, or whether that be Avramax. Entirely up to you. It's down to your play style. Then we're going to go for your Nadir targets and pretty much your Dogmatica targets. So you've got the one Titaniclad. The idea is, or the initial play is, you'd activate Nadir Servant, you'll send your App Cologne, the App Cologne will then draw the Schism, or get to the Schism, discard the Schism. You then summon down your Maximus by banishing the App Cologne, and then you use Maximus's effect to send Titaniclad, or your Predaplant Chimera Flesia, and your Construct. Construct would then add back the Schism without you losing any of your hand advantage, and then the Chimera Flesia during the next standby phase would add you Red Eyes Fusion or Magical Eyes Fusion. Keeping in mind that these would end up being Spellcaster, you've got Fairy as well, and the Dogmaticas are Spellcasters, it does unlock a very powerful fusion monster for your extra deck. If you've already got the Red Eyes Fusion, if you've already got the Magical Eyes Fusion, then Titaniclad gives you your Philidius. Philidius is a flex spot should you want to get rid of it. Rather than not using that in the main deck, you can do it as well. The final fusion, pretty straightforward and standard on that one, is going to be Winder. The idea is that you go Schism, Winder, send a card if your opponent's playing Darks, sit on Winder, play the fusion spell you've just searched off for Chimera Flesia, and pretty much go ham from that point. Speaking of spellcasters being relevant, that is why we play this one Mac Daddy of Quintet. Now, the reason in this particular version is Magical Eyes Fusion, easily searchable. The fact is, Winder is a spellcaster. You've also, if you keep App Clone in the graveyard, is a spellcaster. Your Philidius or Fleur de Lis, your Maximus and your Ecclesia are all spellcasters. Rod's a spellcaster, Dark Magician's a spellcaster. Like, you can make this with 5 different names so easy, it's unreal. That then gives you an incredibly powerful boss monster. Alternatively, for the Dark Magician fusions, we do play the one Dark Magician. Very rare that you're ever actually going to go into this. So should you want this to be a flex spot in your extra deck, it can be quite easily, because I've gone with the choice of double Dark Dragoon. Now again, the idea behind this, not only to try and show off the 2 Starlights, but if this gets hit to 1, you can swap them out for any of the 5 cards I'll show you in a minute. But the idea behind this is, if my opponent clears my first Dragoon but I've got Magical Eye Fusion, I make a second one. If my opponent doesn't clear it, I go for Quintet. And it still gives them pretty much game-winning cards on the board that they just can't deal with. A lot of people are so prepared for DPE that Dragoon can auto-win you games on its own. So that's it for the exact extra deck. I'm now going to show you what the alternatives you have. Again, in the control version of pretty much Red Eyes Fusion and then set back row, Dark Magician the Dragon Knight would be an almost must to go into the extra deck. It's also something that I would highly consider when we get new support coming out, and obviously when we get the Albaz back row as well, because that stuff lets you protect some of your fusion plays on top of everything else. Obviously, if VERTE doesn't get banned, it will be going straight back in the extra deck. And then for your boss monsters, like I said, you can battle between Appaloosa or Access Code, and you can also, considering Maximus and Fleur de Lis are high levels, consider a BLS. Now, obviously, the reason behind this is you play a lot of Link 1s, so you kind of need to get the ability to Link climb higher. Your only Link free option would be Celine. If you don't have that option, you kind of want to look at something like the BLS. Now, what I mean by that is, in theory, if I activate the same combo that is going to lead me to a Celine, to an Access Code, Appaloosa, or the Mech Knight Crusader Avramax, that same combo with a Magician's Souls leading into a Dark Magician actually gets you into a BLS. And that one doesn't even need your normal summon, so you can then activate your normal summon being Rod or anything else to get your plays further forward. I'm going to show you that example right now, just so you can see where it goes. Now, in order to utilize Celine the most, you do need to get multiple spells into the graveyard or on the field. So the best spell card you can open up for this particular combo will, of course, be, wherever it is, Engage. Now, if you don't open up the Engage, it's not the end of the world. The other card you need to open up would be Drones. The whole idea of this particular combo is to show you the Striker combo in play and what it can do when you can't go into VERTE. So the idea behind this is you do need to get to Rod, which again, come February, you're going to be playing like 6 to 8 copies of this guy. It's going to be incredibly easy to do. So you're going to activate Engage, you're going to search out your drone, you're going to activate your drones, you're going to summon out your Kagari. Very straightforward and simple on that point right there. Wherever she is, there we go. Kagari. You're then going to bring back one of the others. Now, if you've got enough spells in the graveyard, you can risk it with the Engage, but the idea of the Engage is you will need to have this in hand, otherwise it's just not, this in deck, otherwise you're not going to get anything off it. So the other is you add back the drones, you activate the drones, you've got a free monster on the board. Great. You're going to normal summon the Rod. The Rod is going to search you out any spell you want. Now, like I said, my ideal scenario or my ideal search would probably going to be a, wherever it is, Salvation, just because then I can activate that in the spell zone. Then that will then set me up an Eternal Soul. So if I do have Magician's Souls plays, then that's going to give me 1, if not 2 draws. From this particular stance right here, we've got 1 spell there, 1 spell there, 1 spell there. So just by linking these 3 together, to a Machine, a Warrior, and a Spellcaster, you're going to be able to go straight into Celine. There she is. There we go. Celine will then trigger her own effect because she will have 3 tokens on her to bring back a Spellcaster from the grave, which will be your Magician's Rod. You will then turn Rod into, wherever it is, your Artemis. And this gives you the instant access. So this can now be, even without going into Artemis, it could be your link to negate Appaloosa. It can be your aggressor of the access code as well. And you're going to end up having a light, a fire, and an earth in the graveyard. Actually, yeah, what I probably should have done is turn Kagari into Kana in that particular scenario, just to give you an earth in the grave. But for this particular setup, we'd then be using both of these and going into an Avramax. Now, obviously, keep in mind that if you do have Magician's Souls instead of Rod, you would need to get to an additional spell or trap. But the idea is that the Magician's Souls would summon itself back to bring out. So let's just reset this, and I'll show you the BLS play, because I think the BLS play is pretty cool. So it's the exact same kind of combo, but this one you could actually probably do it with 1 card less. So the idea is you'd go Drones and Magician's Souls, wherever it is. There we go. To activate drones, turn to drones into Kagari. Don't really need to go into Kana, but if you want to, just to get that card out of your extra deck, you can. You then add back the drones, activate the drones, nice and easy. Special summon down the Magician's Souls. But this one, rather than just summoning it, you're actually going to want to bring back or summon out your Dark Magician. There we go. And then straight away you go Link 3, wham, bam, Sam. Gives you your BLS. They're all going to be different names. So you've got a BLS that's been made with a level 7 or higher, so it can't be targeted. Makes it a near and impossible boss monster to deal with, and you still maintain your normal summon. So your normal summon can then go Rod, get whatever you need to, build your board up. And this is probably where Eternal Soul, Circle, and Salvation become a little bit more relevant as well. Anyway, that is it for the profile, and now the part that you guys have probably all stuck around to find out for. With a deck like Dark Magician, it is my favourite deck. It is the deck that I protect and is my precious, basically. Love it the most, which is why I've got these cool double sleeves. And they are the matte clear Japanese size outer sleeves. You get 60 in a pack. And I'm going to be able to give away 5 packs of these. That's right, guys. 5 packs. 5. So 5 packs of these to 5 separate winners. Very, very simple, guys. To celebrate our birthday, all I want you to do is subscribe to the channel, follow us on Facebook, iTunes, Podomatic, or Instagram. Either one of those, as long as you've become a follower of those. Subscribing to the channel and hitting the like button is the base minimum. And then all I want you to do is just put down in the comments below your favourite ace monster. Like, your ace monster could be anything. Your ace monster could be Karibo, your ace monster could be Dark Magician. I just want to know what your favourite ace monster is. Very simple, very direct, and I will choose a lucky winner in about 2 weeks' time and go from there. As absolutely always, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and hopefully I'll be bringing you many more updates to this particular deck as the ban list and everything else unfolds. As absolutely always, guys, stay safe, and of course, happy dueling.